Hello, sunshines. We are back with another session. Today we're going to be talking about semantic HTML. As y'all can see, I'm just going to hide my window really quickly so you can see that's the footer down there. All right, I'm back. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and just jump right into it. Okay. So introduction to semantic HTML. When building web pages, we use a combination of non-semantic HTML and semantic HTML. The word semantic means relating to meaning. So semantic elements provide information about the content between the opening and closing tags. Okay. By using semantic HTML, we select HTML elements based on their meaning, not on how they are presented. Elements such as the division tag and the span tag are not semantic elements since they provide no context as to what is inside of those tags. For example, instead of using a division element to contain our header information, we can use a header element, which is used as a heading section. By using a header tag instead of a division tag, we provide context as to what information is inside of the opening and closing tag. Why use semantic HTML? For accessibility, semantic HTML makes web pages accessible for mobile devices and for people with disabilities as well. This is because screen readers and browsers are able to interpret the code better. Okay, SEO. It improves the website SEO or search engine optimization, which is the process of increasing the number of people that visit your webpage. With better SEO, search engines are better able to identify the content of your website and weight the most important content appropriately. Lastly, it's easy to understand. Semantic HTML also makes the website's source code easier to read for other web developers. Nice. To better understand this, you can think of comparing non-semantic HTML to going into a store with no signs on the aisles. Since the aisles aren't labeled, you don't know what products are in those aisles. However, stores that do have signs for each aisle make it a lot easier to find items you need, just like semantic HTML. Okay, makes sense. Okay, and really quickly, I'll stay here for now. Alrighty. I'm just gonna go ahead and move myself back up where I normally am. Alrighty. So let's take a look at some semantic elements that assist in the structure of a web page. A header tag is a container usually for either navigational links or introductory content containing H1 to H6 headings. For example, below shows header in action. So here's the example. Um, Header with our H1 title tag, everything you need to know about pizza, closing tag, and then another closing tag. So this can be compared to the code below, which uses a div tag instead of a header tag. So this is a div using an ID attribute with the value of header. Okay, so this is just telling us this is the header using a division tag. Interesting. So by using a header tag, our code becomes easier to read. It is much easier to identify what is inside the H1's parent tags as opposed to a division tag, which would provide no details as to what was inside of the tag. A nav tag is used to define a block of navigation links such as menus and tables of contents. It is important to note that navigation tags or that nav tags can be used inside of the header element, but can also be used on its own. So let's take a look at the example below. So here it is. This is our header, our opening header, opening nav in an unordered list. Here's list item number 1. list item number 2. And then our closing unordered list, closing nav, and closing header. So nav, by using nav as a way to label our navigation links, it will be easier for not only us, but also for web browsers and screen readers to read the code. Now that we've learned about the header and nav elements, let's add them into our code. Okay. So first, in the code editor, find the div ID set to header tag and change it to header. Someone up? Here we go. Open that up, and then this would be the close of the header down here. And run that. Beautiful. Now find the div ID set to nav tag and change it to nav. Here we go. Easy enough. Here we go, nav, and then we're going to find that corresponding closing tag and change that. There we go. Beautiful. Close our hooks. All right. Close out of that. Right. Next. Alrighty, main and footer. Okay. Oops. We need to do it. All right. What's happening? Why does this keep popping up? Okay, there we go. Okay, so two more structural elements are main and footer. These elements, along with nav and header, help describe where an element is located based on conventional web development standards. The element main is used to encapsulate the dominant content within a web page. This tag, this tag is separate from the footer and the nav of a web page since these elements don't contain the principal content. By using main as opposed to a div element, screen readers and web browsers are better able to identify that whatever is inside of the tag is the bulk of the content. Okay, so how does main look when incorporated into our code? That's a great question. So here's an example, main, then header. So main would be the parent to the header element here. Okay, so as we see above, main contains an article and header tag with child elements that hold the most important information related to the page. The content at the bottom of the subject information is known as the footer, indicated by the footer element. The footer contains information such as contact information, copyright information, terms of use, sitemap, reference to top of page links. For example, here it is, footer with the child paragraph element, and then our closing footer tag. So in the example above, the footer is used to contain contact information. The footer tag is separate from the main element and typically located at the bottom of the content. Nice. Alrighty, so the instructions. In the code editor, find the div ID set to main tag and change it to main. We can do that. HTML, body, header, H1, nav. Okay, we're all the way down here. Main, and then we're going to go ahead and find that corresponding. That'll be here. And that. Awesome. And then now find the div ID footer and change it to footer. Alrighty. And we're going to go ahead and find that corresponding closing tag and correct that. Awesome. All right. I'm going to move on to next. Now that we covered the body of semantic HTML, let's focus on what can go in the body. The two elements we're going to focus on now are the section and article. Section defines elements in a document such as chapters, headings, and any other area of the document with the same theme. For example, content with the same theme such as articles about cricket can go under a single section. A website's homepage could be split into sections for the introduction, news items, and contact information. Here's an example of how to use section. So section, H2, header, opening and closing, and then our closing section tag. In the code above, we created a section element to encapsulate the code. In section, we added a H2 element as a heading. Okay. The article element holds content that makes sense on its own. Article can hold content such as articles, blogs, comments, magazines, etc. An article tag would help someone using a screen reader understand where the article content that might contain a combination of text, images, audio, etc. begins and ends. Here's an example of how to use article. So we have our section element encapsulating the H2 element with our heading and then article element. So in the code above, the article element containing a fact about cricket was placed inside of the section element. It is important to note that a section element could also be placed in an article element depending on the context. Good to know. Alrighty, in the code, find and replace div ID set to section with section and replace the corresponding closing div tag with a closing section tag. We can do that. Here is section. Ooh, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. All right, here's that section opening, and we're going to go ahead and close it up. Run that. Beautiful. Now encapsulate the H2 and P tags with article. We're going to find our H2 and P tag here. We're going to go ahead and create the article tag. Opening, and then we're going to make that closing article tag. And run that. Awesome. All right. We are moving on. So the aside element. The aside element is used to mark additional information that can enhance another element but isn't required in order to understand the main content. This element can be used alongside other elements such as article or section. So common uses of the aside element are for bibliographies, endnotes, comments, full quotes, editor sidebars, and additional information. Here's an example of aside being used alongside article. So we have here our article element and then our aside element immediately afterwards. So as shown above, the information within the article is the important content. Meanwhile, the information within the aside enhances the information in article, but is not required in order to understand it. Okay. All right. Just letting that sink in. All right, remove the div ID set to aside tag and replace it with aside tag. Don't forget about closing the tag. How could we forget about that? All right, gonna scroll down to find aside, and there it goes. So our opening aside tag, and we're gonna close it down here. Side. Beautiful. Right, next. With a side, so this is figure and fig caption. With a side, we learned that we can put additional information next to a main piece of content. But what if we wanted to add an image or illustration? This is where figure and fig caption come in. Figure, okay. Figure is an element used to encapsulate media such as an image, illustration, diagram, code snippet, etc., which is referenced in the main flow of the document. So here's an example figure, and then we have that image there, and then that closing figure tag. So in this code, we created a figure element so that we can encapsulate our image tag. In figure, we use the image tag to insert an image onto the web page. We use the source attribute within the image tag so that we can link the source of the image. It is possible to add a caption to the image by using fig caption, so figure caption. Okay. Fig caption is an element used to describe the media of the figure tag. Usually, fig caption will go inside of the figure element. It is different than using a P element or paragraph element to describe the content. If we decided, if we decide to change the location of figure, the paragraph tag may get displaced from the figure, while a fig caption will move with the figure. Good to note. This is for grouping an image with a caption. So here's an example, our figure element with the fig caption inside of it, right underneath the image. So in the example above, we added a fig caption into the figure element to describe the image from the previous example. This helps group the figure content with the fig caption content. While the content in figure is related to the main flow of the document, its position is independent. This means that you can remove it or move it somewhere else without affecting the flow of the document. Nice. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and create an opening and closing figure tag under the closing section tag. So here we're looking for section here. So we're going to add figure, opening, and figure close. Add an image by using the image tag within figure. Use the following URL as the source for the image. So go ahead and add our image tag, image source, and set it to this URL here. Next, we're going to go ahead and make sure we close that. Alrighty, and remember here, our image tags do not have a closing tag, so this is how we close an image tag. Alrighty, now we're going to create a fig caption under image and describe the image. Okay, we can do that. Fig caption. We're going to say poetic cup. Then close our fig caption. Nice. All right, let's move on. So audio and attributes. Now that we learned about text-based content, let us dig into audio. Sure, everyone needs audio. How else would you listen to your Korean hip hop, your K-pop? The audio element is used to embed audio content into a document. Like video, audio uses source to link the audio source. So here's an example of audio element with the source, which is an MP3 file, and the type audio/MP3. So in this example, we created an audio element. Then we created a source element to encapsulate our audio link. In this case, I am an audio file.mp3 is our audio file. Then we specified the type by using type and named what kind of audio it is. Although not always necessary, it is recommended that we state the type of audio as it helps the browser identify it more easily and determine if that type of audio file is supported by the browser. We linked our audio file into the browser, but now we need to give it controls. This is where attributes come in. Attributes provide additional information about an element. Attributes allow us to do many different things to our audio file. There are many attributes for audio, but today we're going to be focusing on controls and source. Controls automatically displays the audio controls into the browser, such as play and mute. And the source attribute specifies the URL of the audio file. As you might have noticed, we already used the source attribute in the example code above. Most attributes go in the opening tag of audio. For example, here's how we could add both autoplay functionality and audio controls. Okay, I mean, that looks simple enough. What do y'all think? Yeah, that looks pretty simple. Okay, so in the code editor, create an audio tag with the attribute controls directly under the commented line. Okay, let's scroll down. So directly under the commented line, that'll be this one. We're going to go ahead and create that audio tag. We're going to do an open. I'm always going to do a close unless it's an image tag. Let's run that. Oh, with the attribute controls. So we're just going to put controls. That's not spelled correctly. Controls. There we go. Alrighty. Add a source for the audio inside the audio tag by using this code. Let's go ahead and copy that. I feel like source goes before. Add a source for the audio inside of the audio tag by using this code. Just gonna put it right here. It seems like it should go here. There we go. Let's try that. Did you create a source tag within the audio tag? Oh, okay, I didn't. I didn't do that, right? So we're going to take that out. And this is what it's supposed to look like. And then we create a whole nother source, source tag. Okay. Did you, oh, I'm just not following those directions. Here's the URL for that source copy. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the quotes that are already waiting for us. There we go. Now we're gonna run this. Beautiful. All right, perfect. So this is what the finished product of this section looks like. We added our audio and used the controls attribute, and then we added our source element here with attribute source and the type attributes. Okay. I wonder what it says. Okay, it's just the dog working. All right, moving on. All right, video and embed. So as demonstrated in the previous exercise, media content can be a useful addition to a website. Using a video element, we can add videos to our website. The video element makes it clear that a developer is attempting to display a video to the user. Some attributes can alter a video playback. A video playback include some attributes that can alter a video playback include controls. When added in, a play pause button will be added onto the video along with volume control and a full screen option. Autoplay attribute, so the attribute which results in a video automatically playing as soon as the web page is loaded, and then the loop attributes. So this attribute results in the video continuously playing on repeat. Below is an example of video being used with the controls attribute. So video or source set equal to that source or MP4 file with controls, and then a video not supported, and then our closing video tag. So in the code above, a video file named coding.mp4 is being played. The video not supported will only show up if the browser is unable to display the video. Another tag that can be used to incorporate media content into a page is the embed tag, which can embed any media content, including videos, audio files, and GIFs from an external source. This means that websites that have an embed button have some form of media content that can be added to other websites. The embed tag is a self-closing tag, unlike the video element. Note that embed is a deprecated tag, and other alternatives such as video, audio, and image should be used in its place, but is being taught for legacy purposes. Okay, well, this is good to know. So we don't necessarily have to use embed, but it's good to know, I suppose. So below, we'll take a look at embed being used in action. In the example above, embed is being used to add a GIF from a local file known as download.gif. Embed can be used to add local files as well as media content straight from some other websites. So now we're going to add the following video URL to the with the attribute controls and wrap it in an opening and closing video tag. We can do that. We're going to go ahead and open up our video tag and have a source. Set that equal to, copy this URL, paste. Okay, here's that closing quote. And we're going to do controls. Close that. We'll do video not supported because that's what we saw in our example. Then we're going to go ahead and close our video tag. In between the opening and closing video tag, you can add a text that will show up if the video is unable to load. This text is helpful for screen readers as well. Okay, we did video not supported. We're going to run that. And here's our video. Okay, nice. It works. We're moving on. So add the following GIF into your code using the embed tag and the source attribute. So we're going to add right below it, embed. Source equals, copy that URL, set the source to the URL. And then the way that we close an embed tag, let's take a look. Okay, so just / and then close it. We're gonna run that. Here's our GIF down here. Alrighty, looks like we've finished. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so congrats on completing this lesson on semantic HTML. Now that you know the benefits of semantic HTML and how to use it, incorporate semantic elements into your website to make it more accessible and to make the code easier to read. Let's review some of the topics we covered throughout the lesson. So, semantic HTML introduces meaning to a page through specific elements that provide context as to what is in between the tags. Semantic HTML is a modern standard and makes a website accessible for people who use screen readers to translate the web page and improves your website's SEO. So the header, nav, main, and footer tags create the basic structure of a web page. The section tag defines elements in a document, such as chapters, headings, and any other area of the document with the same theme. Article tag holds content that makes, or the article element holds content that makes sense on its own, such as articles, blogs, comments, etc. A side element contains information that is related to the main content, but not required in order to understand the dominant information. The figure encapsulates all types of media. The figure caption or fig caption element is used to describe the media in figure. And then video, embed, and audio elements are used for media files. Now, apply this knowledge to become a better web developer. Alrighty. Well, that concludes this lesson over semantic HTML. I hope that this was very helpful for you all, and I will see y'all next time.